Hi there, it's Tom here from Foam Data Services, and this is just a quick update video about what I've got coming up. Now, I've been fairly busy this month, and we had Bristol, which was the first big outdoor HVZ game in the UK for a while, so I want to give some props to Mike, Steve and Iona and the moderating team for organising all of that and running that for us. It was a really good fun day out on Bristol Downs, and we got to play some big outdoor HVZ. So thank you very much for that. Now this month we have got some interesting blasters in the pile. First up, my next project is this. This is the Airzone Punisher, and this was a 2010 Toys R Us exclusive, and it's made by Airzone, who I think might be a relative of Busby. I think that's the Busby brand name for Toys R Us. Now this is a Gatling blaster, very similar to the Vulcan, and the barrels turn, the faux barrels at the front, and the dart comes out this centrepiece here. Now there's not been very much mod work done on these because they don't fire Nerf darts. So my mission is to start by getting it to fire Nerf darts. Now you can see this section here where the receiver is and the belt mechanism, because I don't have the belt for this because it didn't come with one, is narrower than a standard Nerf dart. This is why people haven't generally converted them. So I'm proposing to graft onto this side parts from a radar, including the magwell and some of the other components from the shell, to allow me to run drum mags coming out this side. So it'll be fed from one side with a drum mag, and then we'll end up with quite a nice meaty heavy weapon blaster which will use Nerf mags and darts. Kev over at UK Nerf War has been kind enough to send me 3 blasters which he wants testing, and they are all NIC staples and modders friends. So first up we have the Longshot, and this particular Longshot was built by Nerf Shack. All 3 of these blasters are his builds. Well, from his collection. Some of them aren't his builds, but this is one of his with the deploy pump grip on the front, and then it's fully brass breeched internally, and I've got a feeling it runs the 10k spring. Now this does need a bit of a clean. I haven't cleaned the brass breech yet, so I'm not going to be testifying that today, but this will be under the chrono, so we'll be able to see what a fully modded brass breech Longshot does. And this is breeched for elite darts, so this is why this is a useful thing, because it'll give us a baseline performance for a Longshot on elite darts. Next up we have the Octoshot. Now this one was originally built by Frantic Blue up in Northampton, so props to him. And it was one Nerf Shack bought when he had his last, when FB had his last big sale. And this one works pretty good. I think it's got nearly full length K26 in it. It's quite a beefy spring if I remember rightly. We've not really had any chance to test anything like this over the chrono. This is based on a Lanyard shell and the pump grip, and then this was painted by the guys over at BS UK when they moved workshops. Yeah. But again, this is out of Nerf Shack's collection, and this has now gone over to Kev at UK Nerf War, and we're going to do a baseline test for him, and then he's going to take them home and play with them and see if he can get a bit more performance out of them, and we'll see where his gains are. And then we have the mighty Doomsayer. Now back in the day this was a common NIC primary, so these have kind of fallen out of favour a little bit with the NIC. They're hard to find in the UK, you just won't find them, partly because Ertl, who make the base blaster for this, just don't have a UK distributor. So this is a big beastie gun. It's heavy, it's ABS shell, and it's got a very, very large front turret here with plenty of shots. It has pet egg barrels, which are okay, I suppose. I'm not a big PETG fan. I see the use for them, but they're very brittle, and this again doesn't have a turret spacer, which I think would have been really nice, but it's otherwise fairly well built. And the turret mechanism in this is a little bit sticky, and Kev did say to me that he was going to go over this with a fine-tooth comb and make it work better. So this may be an interesting test to do because the advanced mechanism is not that great. But again, a fairly big spring, fairly large plunger volume, and I do like the feel of this shell. It does have heft, but in the UK this is the sort of thing that will definitely get you into trouble outside. Lots of black parts, and although the turret is fairly silly, all of this kind of black will get you into big trouble. But not a common sight in the UK, the Doomsayer, so I'm really looking forward to testing it. And we also have the MegaMagnus, and this is a US spec MegaMagnus. This in fact is the very same blaster that I used in my last Magnus shootout. Now I bought one of these for myself a while ago, an orange one from Amazon.com, and this one is fitted with the new blaster parts spring kit. So we'll see what kind of performance gains this blaster parts spring has in here, and it certainly feels a little bit heftier, and I hope the air restrictor is still in this. Yes. So this still has the air restrictor in, and it's running the blaster parts .de spring. Now they're quite an expensive company to order from if you live outside Germany. We did look at a spring for this, but we were unable to get it for a reasonable price. The spring company actually had one for me, but they wanted quite a large minimum order, and I'm not made of money. Blaster parts, however, I've got this sorted and we'll see what this spring can do. And finally, we have my Bristol Primary. This has had a bit of an upgrade lately. As we were playing outside, I ripped it apart and I've now got a full blade setup. This runs a blade pusher and it has 2 blades for the flywheels, and this shoots really nice now. I've been very pleased with it as an upgrade, and I heartily recommend anybody who does anything but tiny indoor wars. If you do anything in an arena bigger than 60 feet long, then blade pusher motors are amazing. You can control the speed of the flywheels by just putting in a lower voltage power supply. This is running on the same 8.4 volt NIC pack as all my other tests, so we'll get some good comparative data to see where this racks up against barricade motors. And at some point I'll do a stock motor test too. That's a Blade 180 Rapid Strike, and the motors in this are from E-Sky. They're not E-Flight hobby blade motors. These are a slightly more generic 180, and I also have a set of Extreme 180s knocking around somewhere, and we'll see what those kind of things can do at some point too.